There you go. That's the deal with the circle hook. Now this could be a catfish, could be a striper, could be a perch, could be just about anything.
It's fighting a
Yeah.
little bit harder.
Let's see what we got here.
You know what? Nothing like catching fish warms you up.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I think
It's supposed to be May.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Let's see what we got here. I'm guessing catfish.
And
Yep, channel catfish.
channel cat.
There we go. Just lift them right up.
There we go. Springtime, striper fishing on the river. Except, well, we're going to catch a cacophony of things today, right, Steve? Stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting one. Let's put it that way.
Well, we'll get him back and we'll start fishing again.
All right.
Got a little bite. Wonder what we got. Shaking its head a lot.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm thinking?
It's catfish?
I'm thinking it's another catfish.
Yeah.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. No, it's a striper.
Striper.
It's a giant striper. Here we go.
Oh, do you need the net on that?
How do you like that one?
Springtime. We're trying to catch stripers out here.
And we did it.
Yeah, we did. We caught one. Again, the weather's been pretty tough against us
Right.
today. The wind's against us today. The temperature is against us today.
Yep.
But we're going to try. We got a variety of baits out.
Yep.
And yeah, we're going to see.
Yep.
Little one.
I want you to look on my hand, Bob.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
fish is actually starting to milk. That means they're getting ready to spawn. Even though this fish isn't big enough to do it,
Uh-huh.
it wants to.
Huh.
And, you know, this is the future of the stocks. And I'm sure there's a lot bigger ones around if this one's here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to get this guy back.
There's
Yep.
a little nice one.
There you go, little guy.
You're putting on a bloodworm right now.
Right.
I don't like to touch them. They bite you. But that's one of our baits.
Sissy. He's a sissy.
Bloodworms work real well.
Right.
We also have chunk bait, right?
Right.
Bunker.
Yep.
And we seem to be getting little bites on the bunker.
Yeah.
But again, if you're out here, you got to use a variety of baits. Even clam we're going to try too later on.
Yep.
One of the things that goes against us now, we mentioned it before, is that we can't use herring anymore. It's against the law.
Right.
And that was one of the best baits to use for stripers was the herring. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
the stock, they said the stocks are down and you can't have any in your possession to,
Right.
To use them. So you have to go to bloodworms, which can be very expensive,
Right.
in the bunker, but that's what we got to do. And with the tide situation, you want to get in here when the tide's moving, right?
Right. Always want to have a moving tide when you're fishing for these fish.
And again-
helps you position a boat.
Right.
It keeps your lines going the right way. It makes everything easier, even on a day like today. I mean, it's the middle of May just about, and we're dressed up like Nanook of the North. I got this deer hunting hat on. You know, you're all bundled up.
Yep.
Cameraman's half froze to death.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing we got to do. We got to worry the water temperature's
Right.
not as high as we'd like it. So it's going to be some tough
It's going to be
fishing.
a challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But you know what? You don't need a herring to catch a striper.
No, we knew that.
Well, I'm going to put this back in the water
you
so
put
we
that-
catch another one.
Put that back in. That rod went off, huh?
Yep, hooked up again. Whatever this is, it's right up on the top,
Yeah.
cruising around. I see him.
Now, Steve, we just caught 2 fish within a matter of minutes.
Yep,
And it was in a matter of minutes that the tide really started to change for us,
Yep.
going in the right direction. That has to have something to do with it, doesn't it?
oh, absolutely. Like we said, moving tide. This looks like a big white perch.
Yeah. It is. Look
Great big white perch.
at Yeah.
Look at that mama.
Look how fat
one.
that is.
Yep,
Fat perch.
big old perch.
And again, when we're on the Delaware River. It's supposed to be May, but what the heck, you know.
Yeah. More like late March.
Like this situation, we are going to catch perch, catfish when the stripers are in here too, because the stripers are really good. They eat the perch and stuff like
Right.
that. So it's one of those things. But again, as soon as that tide turned, we're starting to pick up more fish.
Right.
And it can only get better as the tide starts to really move.
Oh, absolutely. As the tide moves, we're going to catch a lot more fish. We're going to get a lot more bites because the fish have to swim in a certain area.
Right.
You know, if the tide's not moving, fish can swim anywhere. But when the tide's moving, the fish go to the little areas that, you know, the little drop-offs, the flats that have some little lumps and bumps in them, anything that'll block the current. You know, that's the places you want to fish. And the big deal is a few feet can make a big difference.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. Well, there, when we were anchoring, I was running the boat, and you were
Right.
telling me I need 14 feet and,
Yep.
and that kind of stuff. So it's important that you find those sweet spots, quote unquote,
Yep.
within those areas, because to our left of us is a great big flat that's probably got no more than 2 feet of water on it.
Right.
And then we come to these drop-offs. That's what it's like a road map for the fish.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to get this guy unhooked. We'll get him back. And we'll get back to catching some fish.
Yeah.
There you go. You're hooked up with something.
Yeah. A little better.
Get this guy out there. That's on a chunk, too.
Yeah. There we go. Got a little head there.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think that's a better fish.
Yeah? You think he's got stripes on him?
I hope. Yeah, I think so.
We'll see.
Our conversation was whether we would go more bloodworms or go with more chunk.
Yep.
Yeah,
Head shakes?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's not happy right now.
Yeah, just keep him out of the motor there. It's
Big
it's a nice catfish.
catfish.
It's not a small one. Look at that guy. And that circle hook's got him
Yep. Here, I'm gonna
right outside the head. Yeah, you move down there, I'll swing through here. I'll be the cat catcher.
be the cat.
Look at the head on that thing.
Jeepers.
That is one fat cat.
You ain't kidding.
I feel like those guys on TV. Stick their hand in the mouth and catch him. Look at that guy.
Steve, before you do that,
Right.
show where the hook is with that circle hook.
The circle hook is right in the top of the roof of the mouth of the fish. Right where you want to hook them. It doesn't gut hook them. You can get them out easy. That is
How much do you think that weighs?
I don't know, but he bites hard. Yeah, let's get this guy back. We'll talk a little bit more about the baits we're using.
Okay.
Get rid of him.
Look at him.
Splash
Woo.
myself. Yeah. Caught that on a bunker chunk. Not much left of it,
No.
but you notice we get the little tiny the perch hits. Tap, 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 tap,
right.
tap. But when something bigger grabs it, bends the rod over, and all you do is take the rod out of the holder and reel the fish in.
But you, like with the circle hooks, you don't set the hook. The
Exactly.
hook sets basically itself.
Yep. And what happens is a lot of people, they grab the rod and jerk on it, Yeah, and they set the hook, and they miss the fish or lose the fish. So just watch the rod bend, grab it out of the holder and reel, and you got them.
And that was, you were putting a line in.
Yep.
I was back here, and you just lifted
I
your
turned
arm.
around, and the rod was bent over. I'm saying, we're in business.
Yeah.
And it's like we said, we could catch just about anything out here today.
Right.
We're trying for stripers, but so far we got catfish, perch, a little striper. Who knows what else we're going to catch?
Yeah. Sturgeon or something.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to business.
All right, let's get
We got something on here. Actually, I was just getting ready to reel up and check the bait. And we got something. Got the lines all tangled. It's a little tiny striper.
Jesus.
Look at that little guy. You know, a lot of people might be upset that they're catching these little fish. I think it's the best thing in the world. This means that we're going to have stripers here for a long, long time to come. Little guy, 4 or 5 inches long, healthy. And what's neat is he's got all his lines on this side. And if I turn him, his lines are broken on that side. And they say only the hybrid fish have that. But what happens is a lot of the fish that come from southern waters like the Chesapeake and areas like that have that broken line. So this might be an intermingling of the two stocks of fish.
Oh.
But I want to get this guy unhooked and get him back in the water.
Steve, one thing you do, we had circle hooks and we're putting bloodworms on them.
Yep.
Show us how you do that, because there's a special technique that you use.
Well, one of the things that we're doing is we want the bloodworm to be on the hook as much as possible, because otherwise the perch and the little baby stripers are going to steal it. So instead of just hooking it on the end, what I do, and it helps the bloodworm stay on a lot longer, is I'm going to string this worm on the hook almost to the tail, about as far as I can. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it all the way up the line so it goes all the way up there, and basically the whole worm is on the hook. So now the perch and the smaller fish have to fight a little bit more to get it, and it lasts a little bit longer.
Right, because if they can get that tail, they'll just pull it right off, and,
Right.
then we'll lose it.
Exactly.
Hey, one other thing, you look at your fingers there, there's the blood. That's why they call
Yeah.
it a bloodworm. You're not cut or anything.
Yep, no, I'm not cut, but these guys, they do bleed all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's a bloody mess, but it's some of the best striper bait out there.
Yep. Yeah, and that blood really attracts them too.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. Now let's catch a few more.
Okay, let's get him in.
Not a big one, but you know what? I think he's got a head and a tail, which qualifies him as a fish.
That's it,
He's
another.
a perch.
Oh, another perch.
Yep. You know, let's talk a little bit about the perch here, because perch are definitely an obstacle when we're out here fishing.
Right.
Wow, he's hooked twice.
Look at that. He wasn't going anywhere.
And if you notice, there's not a whole lot of worm left there.
Yeah.
And what leads me to is the corn on the cob theory.
Right.
Okay? We've got the worm on the hook. You know what? Let me switch hands with it. My fish is in the wrong hands. This is a right-handed eating fish. Okay? And what I think these fish do is I think they come in and they eat the worm from here, just like a corn on the cob, and work
go
their
right-
way up the hook.
Right.
You know, and then they spin it,
Right.
put more butter on it,
And eat
chew it, and you can see where the hook is starting to get shiny from the bite marks on the hook. But if you're striper fishing out here on the river or bait fishing, you're going to run into the white perch.
Right. Right. There's nothing you can do about it, really.
Yep. But they're a cool little fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the kids love catching them. When I
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
them
yeah,
out
keep-
here,
yeah, keeps them
oh, they'll
busy.
catch them all day.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just use regular worms and
Right.
that kind of stuff rather than
Right.
using a $2 bloodworm.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you know, let's get this little guy back.
And it's even still a big hook, though, Steve, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is a 5.0
Yeah.
octopus hook. Actually, a circle hook.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got it in his mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so voracious. They just eat and eat and eat and eat.
Yeah, one of the things we're watching the rods, you can just see once that starts tapping like that, you know what's
Yeah,
what's
yep.
munching.
Yep, when a striper hits it, let me get this guy back.
Yeah,
He's-
yeah, yeah.
I can hear him gasping. And that's important. When you get the perch hits, you see the rod tip go ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding. And that's them turning the corn over to eat your worm. But the dink, the dink, the dink. A lot of times when you get the striper bite, it'll be dink, dink, and then just the rod bends over, and he's on there. So it's really easy to tell the difference. Yeah. But again, with the circle hook, you just take the rod out of the holder and reel.
Just reel it in.
No hook set. Otherwise, you rip it right out of their mouth.
Yep. All right, let's get another dollar worm.
Yep, dollar worm. All day buffet.
Yeah. All right, Steve, you showed us earlier how to hook up a bloodworm.
Right.
Threading it on the thing. Now you have two different baits here. They're both bunker, but you have them cut in two different ways. Why is that?
Mm-hmm. Well, we got two theories. We've got the standard bunker chunk, and then we've got the fillet. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, I'm going to start with the standard bunker chunk.
Okay.
Okay, cut right through the fish. You have a chunk. It's really simple to do. You just hook it on. Out the other side. And here's the important thing. You're going to get a scale stuck on the hook. You need to get that scale off the hook, or else you're not going to hook the fish. Now, the one disadvantage you have with a chunk is sometimes they'll spin the line up. Okay, they'll twist in the current. Okay? Now, if they twist in the current, it's going to twist your line up, it's going to tangle things up. So, we switch over to a fillet.
Okay. That's this one
which
here.
I'm going to rig on the other rod.
Okay.
Now, you take the fillet, and you hook it on basically just like you would, you know, a fluke fillet. It's tapered, it's narrow at one end and wider at another. Hook it through the meat. Again, we're going to make sure that there's not any scales on the point of the hook, so you lose a fish.
Right.
Now, this won't spin in the current, but you also have the added benefit. You have all this surface area of the meat to put out oils and scent and all that. So there's a lot of people that think you can get more bites on a fillet like this than on a chunk.
And sometimes it'll be just moving like this,
right,
up and down.
A little bit of movement,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But really, what you want is you want it sitting flat on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And you can see by the end of this bunker, we're going with the chunks and we're going with the fillets to see which makes a difference.
Yeah.
This is no slouch, whatever it is.
Then you got a change of that tide, like we said, Steve.
Yep. I think it's a big caddy.
That's it. Yeah, it's rolling.
Yeah, rolling on the top.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at the size of that tail. Oh, yeah.
That's a big caddy.
That's a nice big one. I mean, not a giant,
yeah,
but still.
Quality fish.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Looks like a big channel.
Yeah.
Look at the size of him. The sun came out.
Yep. You can put your.
I got him right.
You can put your hand in there and bring him in.
I got him like right by the whisker almost.
Yeah. He's barely hooked.
Right in the side of the mouth.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He smacked it with daylight out of it.
Look at the size of this thing. He did. I mean,
yeah,
you got the rod.
Yep,
I mean,
yep,
the rod just doubled over. That is a nice catfish.
Look at the size of that caddy. That is something.
And now for a closer look at today's tackle, Delaware Valley Outdoors presents the Tackle Box. For more information about the tackle used on today's show, go to DelawareValleyOutdoors.com.
All right, Steve, we're here with the tackle box section. It's pretty simple tackle we're doing out here with the stripers, but it's very specific too.
Sure.
Talk about what we have here, the rod and the line and the hooks and stuff.
Well, the nice thing is, just about any rod, and this is a fluke rod or a heavy freshwater bass rod, pike rod, something like that, something that everybody owns. Mm-hmm. This is not a big reel. This is only a 4,000 size reel. It's not a great big surf reel. But the reel is loaded with 30-pound braid.
Really important.
Yep. Number one, it lets you use a much lighter sinker. And you could put about 16 miles of line on this thing.
Versus mono.
Right. So you could handle just about any fish that's ever going to swim in the river. Mm-hmm. The other important thing we have is a circle hook. Now, the thing with the circle hook is that it hooks the fish not by setting the hook, but works like a cam and pulls into the corner of the fish's mouth.
Yeah, it's usually up in the corner or the top.
Right. And as we saw today, we really didn't have gut hooked fish. We had lip hooked fish, which is very important because these fish are coming up here to spawn.
Right.
We want as little mortality as possible.
Right.
So you need a circle hook. Now, different size circle hooks for different baits. If we're going to use something like a bloodworm, we want to use something like a 3/0 to a 5/0 size.
A little thinner.
Yep. Now, for a chunk or even a clam, we've got this size, okay? This circle hook is an 8/0. It's got a nice big bite on it. It can handle the fish. Also, now this is a good tip. If the big fish are around, if you're hearing a lot of reports of big fish, don't go using that little tiny hook. You want a big hook, because the theory of the circle hook, the way it works is it goes around the jawbone.
You have a big jawbone.
You've got a big jawbone. So you need a big hook to get around that big jawbone to hook those big fish. Otherwise, you hook them in the flesh of the lip and you can fight them 15, 20 minutes sometimes and they pull off real easy.
Right.
So that's a great tip. You need the right size hook for the right size fish. Now, the same thing. If there's a lot of 12 to 18, 24-inch fish, you don't need the great big hook unless you're using a big bait.
Right.
So you can go down to that 3/0 or the 5/0 and stay there, especially with the bloodworms and stuff.
Let's talk about this and how to anchor and how important that is.
Basically comes down to is without the anchor, we're not fishing.
Right.
We're not staying still. The baits need to sit on the bottom, and they need to be still. So you have your typical anchor, a Danforth type anchor. The next most important thing after the anchor is the chain. And I've got, not that like I'm going out on a Bering Sea type of chain, but I've got oodles of chain on here. I've got at least 6 feet. And even though we're only anchoring in 14 feet of water, 20 feet of water, the chain keeps the anchor pulling straight and digging into the bottom instead of pulling up in the air.
Because this line will float.
Right.
Or has a tendency to come up. So very important to get that anchor chain
Right.
on there. And a good distance too, not just a...
Right. And the next most important thing is with the line. When you let out your anchor line, you need to have at least 3 times the water depth. So if we're in 15 feet of water, we need to have 45 feet of line out just to hold real good. Now at one point today, the tide was running real hard. I had 75 feet of line out. It's okay. So we need to pull up a little bit more.
Right, when we're
I
leaving
mean,
there.
you're on the throttle.
Right.
You're driving me up the line. It's not that hard.
Right.
But so don't chintz on the chain. Don't chintz on the amount of anchor rope. If you've got 100 feet of anchor rope on the boat and you're out on the river, great.
Yeah.
Still not a problem.
Right.
I'd rather have too much anchor line than not enough.
That's very, and that's dangerous too, not having enough anchor line. Cause you can have, and what weight is it? Did you mention that? What's that
No,
about?
this is your typical, I don't know, it's about an 8-pound anchor.
Okay.
Now, what a lot of people don't realize is it's not the weight of the anchor that holds you. It's the size of the flukes digging in, and it's the amount of rope hanging out. So, yeah, it's an 8-pound anchor, but a 20-pound anchor isn't going to hold you much better.
So there you go. You don't even have to go.
Don't need a 20.
You don't need the 20, and 8 will just do for you. This is
Yep.
an all-around anchor too. It's
That'll
not-
work
it's not
up
river.
to a 20-foot
Yeah,
boat,
yeah.
25-foot boat even in the river.
Right.
You don't need a big crazy anchor.
Right.
But you know what you do need that's big and crazy sometimes?
You need this.
You need this. You need a net.
A big net.
Now, we didn't need it today,
No.
okay?
No.
But, and I'm going to put this off to the side. Last year, you and your brother,
Right.
Mike,
Right.
came out with me, and the first striper that Mike caught, that tail stuck out the net 6 inches.
Right.
And it was a big net. I mean, I've netted 20-pound stripers with it a bunch of times. So you went out and you bought this net and said, you'll never catch a striper that won't fit in this net.
That's right. And you know what? And it's good. You don't want to lose the life a striper of the lifetime
Right.
with a short net, because
Right.
you know how powerful those fish
Yep.
are. You get into that 35, 40 pound class.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is a tough fish, and this is well made. It's very
Yep.
sturdy, and so if you're going out for big ones, invest in a big,
absolutely.
big net like that.
And
And you
the-
can use that all over the place too.
The big one I got last year, the biggest striper I've ever caught in a river, I caught last year on a bloodworm, and people were shocked that I caught it on a bloodworm. It was 48 inches. It was well over 40 pounds. It might have been close to 50. And it fit in the net after my daughter hit it in the head and kind of half knocked it out, but that's another story.
Great. Talk about the Steve Horvath invention of the year, our rod holders.
I think I'm going into business selling it.
Steve, tell us how you came up with this, because this is our bass boat.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we usually don't, last time we striper fished in your boat, which
Right.
is designed for striper fishing.
Right.
But this boat isn't designed for striper fishing, so you came up with that, which the average guy could make too if they wanted to do it, just to keep the line spread.
I built that rod holder in about an hour and a half. I took a measurement of the inside of the boat, how long I wanted it. I tried to decide what size PVC pipe I was going to use. I wound up choosing 1.25 PVC pipe. Nice thing is, all we have to do is pop out the pedestal seat,
Right, and it fits right
pick
around
it
the
up,
pedestal. Right?
and you store it in your backyard somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a pair of 8-foot 2x6s and about 6 foot of PVC pipe.
So if you want information about how to make that, Steve's going to put it up online with his measurements. This
Yes.
big by that big, right?
Yep, we're going to make a video about it. And I'm sure it will be enlightening to everybody.
And that's the tackle box.
Got something here. Bob, can you get this line in?
Okay. Okay. This way.
I don't know that it's a bass. Whatever it is, it's got some size to it. Here we go. Coming over. Looks like a striper. And gotta get this one in too.
Okay.
Oh, this is why we want to clear all the lines when you get one.
Where are we at here? All right, I'll go under. I got one. Or am I just hooked up to you?
You may be hooked up with me.
Yeah.
No, you're hooked up with the other one. Hold on.
All right. All right.
Oh, going around this way.
You go that way.
We're like the Three Stooges.
Okay.
I'm just going to do the boat flip with him.
There we go.
Got a striper.
All right. Well,
Not a
Steve,
bad one. Great way to end the day.
I'm still working on my fish. I don't think it's as big as yours, but hey, I'm Bob Murray, Steve Horvath. Don't forget to catch us on Twitter, Facebook. We'll see you on the water. Okay, let me
Yep.
get this thing in.
You got one too, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
The bite's starting. It's another striper.
yeah.
I think you can flip him in.
Yeah, I'll get him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bring him around this side, or
I'll just bring him right up through the back and get him. There we go.
2 at a time to end the day.
There we are. There's a little tough bite, but what
Yeah.
the heck?
Yep. Hey, you persevere.
Yeah.
You stay out here for the whole time, and you catch the fish.
Yeah, and again, just one more thing. I know we're talking, but the tide is turning again
Yep.
for us. It's very important right here when that tide turns and they start turning on.
Yep.
All right, Stevie.
Let's get him back.
All right.
Captain Steve Horvath. I've searched for my whole life to find the ultimate rod holder system from Steve Co. It gives you detailed instructions about how to make this rod holder. It'll give you good information, like your rod holder needs to be 35 inches and 3 or 4 of those little lines in between. And you can drive a truck over it. It's made with genuine PVC tubing. All you gotta do is call Steve Co. Our slogan is, "Oh no, you got it from Steve Co.?"